Welcome to Comparison is the Thief of Joy, a live call-in podcast that occurs every other Sunday at 6 p.m., where we talk about life and my journey through it. And while I do the podcast, I like to paint. So each podcast will have a corresponding artwork that'll go to it. Feel free to call in by downloading the Podbean app, grabbing your cell phone, and a set of headphones. It's open topic, never feel any pressure. Comparison is the Thief of Joy is available on all major streaming platforms, and my artwork can be found on my Instagram, Comparison is the Thief, or DonnieSun82.myportfolio.com for purchase. Enjoy. Ray, are you ready?
Let's do that.
Next topic, right? Revenge and the heart. So I was talking to a friend of mine. Wondering Woman is what I'll call her. Maybe I should turn that back on. I was talking to a friend of mine. There we go. Before the podcast started, Wondering Woman, just talking about how anxious I was feeling about tonight's show. What I was going to talk about. And she's like, I don't sweat it. You'll figure out a topic. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I'm sitting there and we start talking about life as we generally do. And I get into this particular podcast and my artwork, right? So yesterday or the day before, it's probably been 2 days, I found a way to use my website, right? So that people could link, they could click a button and it would show, hey, very awesome. It would show the podcast that is linked to the piece of art, right? And so last few days, I have been sending out mass. You mind turn down the TV just a little bit, sir? I've been sending out mass Facebook messages, Instagram messages to any and everybody, right? Anybody that's willing to listen, I'm sending out messages to them saying, hey, click on my site, take a look. And the reception that I've gotten has been really, really, really good. The numbers for my podcast are going through the roof. People are really starting to listen to the podcast more so than ever. I didn't have to do anything. Hey, Wondering Woman, to get them to listen. I was Wondering Woman. I'm talking about the conversation we had earlier, and I was like, well, why? I wonder what's different. Tia sent me, what's going on, man? What's different now than before? And then I started to realize, I'm not pressuring anybody to listen to the podcast or to purchase my artwork. Hey, T, do you mind turning down your TV real quick, man? To purchase my artwork or anything like that, right? It's really no pressure. And then I started to realize that this is the first endeavor in my life that there wasn't some sort of negative or angry intent behind it. And obviously you're thinking, like, what exactly do you mean by that? So every other thing, and this is the truth, that I've done in my life has been fueled by anger, hurt, and get back in some way, right? When I was going to nursing school, my driving force for success was showing people, a lot of times my ex-girlfriends, that I was worth something. That was like the driving force. And there's been steps in my career that I really can't go into, right? That the driving force for my success was that, I don't want to say hatred, but it was that Luke Skywalker style of anger, just really misplaced and displaced. And I've always used that. And when I was doing poetry or rapping, whichever one, whatever you want to call it was always generally from a place of hurt and anger, and not really knowing or having the emotional maturity to know any other way, hey, son, to express that, right? And so that was the driving force. There was always something. Even when I started painting, the origination point, the reason that I started doing it was because of my father passing, right? So there's always been something. Well, and so let me go backtrack a little bit. So whenever, I would reach these tough points, these hard points in the road where, normally you'd want to give up, that anger, right? That driving force was always there to bring me back centered and push me through. Well, as I started to hit a really tough point with just burnout from my job, burnout doing the podcast, because I was taking it so seriously. I was consuming like 2 audiobooks a week, always trying to get content or whatever so I could have something to talk about. I got to that point. I was selling a couple, I was starting to get some traction, selling some paintings, but I felt stagnant. I had a conversation. I wish they would just leave me alone. Well, I don't know why they would. I don't know who would need to leave you alone, but I hope everything is all right, man. They keep on trying to 401 IP block me. I'm not sure who they are. Um. So where was I at? I lost. So as I'm trying to like push past this block of keep going, because I'm starting to experience burnout, it's kind of like the conversation I was having with you guys earlier in the week. I was like, well, hold on. Why am I doing this? I don't have to do this. Oh, hey, Eric, what's going on? Um, I don't have to do this. I'm, you know, I'm pretty successful. I make a lot of money. I don't have to do art. I don't have to do the podcast for any monetary reason. And then, so, I'm going inside myself and I'm like, well, can I just do this thing for fun? Do I have to, do it seriously or anything like that? And then as I'm sitting there, digging inside myself, I ask myself, okay, well, if somebody came to you and offered you a gabillion dollars and they would buy whatever work you make and love every podcast you do, would you do it full time? I'm like, well, yeah. Well, generally, when I ask other people that question, the answer is, well, then that's what you probably need to be doing with your life. But when it's you, when it's you, me being you, the answer doesn't seem so clear cut. I'm going to send you an invite in 1 second, Hassan. The answer doesn't seem so clear cut, right? So I had to think. Let me see if I can send him an invite. Um, Allow call-ins. So I am the guy. I am the guy. Let's see. Um, there we go. Hey, Hassan, can you hear me?
Maybe. Can you hear me?
What's that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. How's it
We
going?
good. We good. We good.
All
I
right,
love
all
you.
right. Let me finish my little
Yeah,
diatribe
yeah.
and we can
Please,
hop in.
please, 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 please.
So I'm sitting there, I'm doing this back and forth, and then I start to wonder, like, man, am I just being lazy, right? Do I not want to put in the work? And so what I realized is that I was kind of using it as a cop out, like I was putting out podcasts that were unedited. Didn't I put out a couple that were edited, like the War King thing, right? But I fell back off of that, and then I realized, I think I was talking to my neighbor who's going to be on the show this Sunday coming up and Wondering Woman, I realized that I have to get away from the monetization of it. Not that I don't want to make money off of it, right? But I can't let that be my driving force. I can't let that be the thing that makes me go, because then I'm not going to want to do it. So really, the decision that I've made is that I'm going to simply focus on getting the message out. Just, sharing those aha moments, letting people know, you're not really alone. The feelings that you're feeling are really a shared human experience across the globe. Um, yeah, that's it. So let me let you introduce you guys to Hassan. When did we meet, man?
Whew, I don't know. Back in the
I
day,
can't really.
little kids.
Yeah,
I mean, you
little
were
kid.
a bigger kid than me, but
Yeah, we
uh,
played basketball, and
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
that was pretty much
just Clayton, old
played in those. Yeah,
A-Leaf life. Man, you know what?
what's
Look, it we can introduce whatever. I feel you. I appreciate it.
yeah,
I do want to make one remark back to your
yeah,
thing. Your working shit, I think, was hilarious,
yeah.
and don't let it go.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not.
Don't,
Actually, I worked
because
out this
that
point, man.
that mentality though is like, fuck it. Maybe you're not going to be an MMA champ, but you are still fucking working in your head and in real life if you want
Yeah,
it to be.
yeah,
And when I heard that shit, I laughed out loud, literally. And I also, I identified with that to an
yeah.
extent. You know, it's like, there is truth in that.
Have you ever had to tap into something like that? Something that was opposite than what you, like your base self?
I wouldn't even call it that, man. I mean,
Okay.
whenever I have tapped into something like that, I actually, a part of me feels like that's maybe to an extent the truer form of myself.
Mm. And I
And
think it is. I
that's
think
where
it
I
is.
when I hear you when I heard you say this on whatever episode, I mentioned it to you, but I was like, man, this shit is hilarious. But it it again, I identified with it, and I think this is like something that I felt myself periodically, where it's like, nah, I am the working. I didn't call it that,
Yeah.
but nah, that's how it is.
So
And
I think what's that? No, go ahead.
no, that's it.
Um, and where it came from, like the origination point, and I think I talked about this on the episode, was when I started doing Muay Thai. I started watching a lot of boxers, classic boxers, and the
Hmm.
one who stuck out most was Sugar Ray. And he said whenever he would look into a mirror before the fight, if he saw whatever his alter ego was, he knew he was gonna win. But if he saw his real name, he knew he was gonna lose. And so I said, okay, well, I need to give myself an alter ego. And surprisingly enough, it helps. And it's kind of like what was that book? Not 48 Laws of Power. No. I think Richest Man in Babylon. Can't remember the book, but I've talked about it before. And the book says that if you want something, you need to write it down, right? Write it down,
Mm.
your brain activates. And what I've started to realize is it's such a helpful tool for people who, I don't want to say deficits in character, but if you're somebody that struggles with, I'll give a good example. If you're somebody that struggles with being assertive, right? That's something that I struggle with. And the reason why is you have this picture in your head of who you are, who you think you are. And in that picture, you also have this thought of what other people think of you. And
Mm.
if you think, let me see how to say it without sounding convoluted. If you think that other people think a certain way of you, like, oh, this is Donaldson can't talk back, Donaldson can't assert himself, and you feel like if you try to do those things, you'll look stupid. Well,
Yeah,
what I
because
end up
you'd then be out of character for what is
bingo,
in your
bingo,
head expected of you from,
right
but it's all coming from you.
from you,
Is the
right?
point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's what I had to figure out. Like, wait a second, I can, because we start out as our base selves, right? And then as life goes on, you modify it and change it. And then it's as I started reading these books, I was like, hold the fuck up. All this is based off my habits and my actions. I can change myself by changing my habits and my actions. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. I could punch a dude in the face. I could walk away from I could do whatever I want. And people can think what they want, but I still get to determine what I no one can control your action.
But
Truly.
on the flip flop, if your
Mm-hmm.
alter ego character is
Mm-hmm.
actually a bad guy,
Right.
then when you manifest that character,
Mm-hmm.
you'll become the bad guy. You'll go to jail. You're gonna
Yeah.
get your relationships will deteriorate. You're
Yeah.
going to manifest a life of like hell because your alter ego that you thought was cool or whatever that you dreamed up was a shit guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unless that guy that, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, the war king, unless he's a benevolent war king,
Yeah.
he's not worth keeping around.
Right.
That's the
thing
point.
that
Like
you know.
the war king can be a multitude of different versions of a war king, is
Right.
what I'm saying. A Donaldson war king in my head is slightly benevolent
Right. Well,
because I know Donaldson the guy, and Donaldson the war king is gonna be pretty fucking nice.
and I'm a
although maybe he's infinitely powerful, he's still pretty fucking cool.
well, I don't think you've ever actually even. I don't think you've ever actually seen me angry. I don't think I've ever really
I
been
don't
angry.
know. I don't know. I definitely haven't.
Yeah.
Maybe the most is like if I was being a dumbass around Donaldson, you're like, man, we need to go home. This fool's out of control. And
I
like,
wasn't really angry. I wasn't
no,
really
not angry.
with you, no.
You just, that's the most displeased I've ever seen the War
Yeah,
King.
and that's probably the most I've ever got. But a lot of that was repression too, right? So the way that my house was, because I was the oldest child, I was always taught to kind of not have emotions and kind
Man,
of be the moderator, right? Because my
my
brother
em-
and my
my
sister,
I
they're
hate to
cocky.
interrupt.
Yeah.
But Eminem, my oldest, she's the same way. She says the same shit. And sorry, continue. But I'm just as
No,
speaking
it's
from like anecdotally, that's how oldest kids are, dude.
yeah. We're taught to no, because you're the oldest, you're supposed to
You can't. You have to.
be.
You
have to
suppress
be-
your emotions.
Well, and that's not a good thing because
It's horrible.
it fucking it sizzles up and it comes out and for me it came out with just being not I was wild in my own way, but the ways that I was wild were self-destructive in nature, very inwardly bound. I'm really surprised that I don't have a bunch of tattoos or piercings and stuff like that because I
You got any?
no, none.
Me neither.
No, but I did. Looking back, I'm surprised that I didn't go that route to some degree. with
But
the
your bro
level of
doesn't either, huh?
No, actually, nobody in my family has.
Me, my family too. How odd is that? How rare is that?
It actually is nowadays because everybody.
It's super fucking rare.
It's kind of weird, right? You know what's really odd? And especially as I saw the trend start to go up, face tattoos. Man,
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The fact that that's like a normal thing now.
Man, motherfucker,
wild,
these
isn't it?
kids are barely 18. They got sleeves and face tats.
Yeah, but what's really crazy about kids nowadays? How they walk around in the summertime with full sweaters on.
No.
I keep trying to figure that out, man. This is my theory on that. My theory on that is that I think that because there's global warming, You're witnessing. No, seriously, I think we're witnessing human evolution just in real time because they don't sweat.
I know, I love it. Keep going.
Yeah, but they don't actually sweat. But the topic today was really about revenge. And
Oh fuck! All right.
you know,
Sorry, yeah, I jumped in late.
yeah, no, it's all good.
By the way, I jumped in late because I was fucking with my roommate, and then I had his daughter playing on my drum set. Like, I was like, hey, I think I got like 10 minutes before this thing. Jump on the set. And and then I looked at the watch. I was like, nah, get off the set. I gotta get on this podcast.
So wait, what all instruments do you play, man?
Anything I can get my hands on, dude. I'm gonna learn anything.
Self-taught?
Well, not saxophone.
Okay.
I learned that at Albright Middle School with that.
Right.
Do you remember the big old Mr. Johnson, the little fat motherfucker?
If I saw him, I probably would, but I can't say off the top of my brain I know who he is.
You were in band, bro?
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
03.
Okay, we weren't in the same class then because I played tuba. Of course, I graduated in 2000. But
were you Albright?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you know? You remember Mr. Johnson and Shanks and whatnot?
I remember Shanks. Yes, I remember Shanks because there was another lady.
Shanks would have been your teacher. I think whatever lady you had was replaced by Johnson.
No. See, like when I first came in, there was a lady that was replaced by Shanks, actually. And it's hilarious too because she was elated about the fact that she was leaving because we were, according to her, we're the worst group of children that she's ever had to deal with.
She said it.
I mean, she didn't say it, but the way she used to, come in, she practically said it without saying it. And when she had to leave, she was celebrating. If she could do cartwheels, she would have been doing cartwheels. It was one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen. And I mean, she wasn't entirely wrong. We were bad, but
it's all right.
But you know what?
It's A-Leaf.
You know what the most interesting thing about A-Leaf and Albright? So in reality, right, there were really I'm using quotation marks, tough kids, right? Everybody was pretty much fronting. But here's the thing, back to our older point, a lot of kids that we know fronted so hard and played the character so hard, that's who they actually turned into. Like a lot of kids that weren't gangsters, man, they turned into they actually because they just kept doing gangster stuff.
That's your mode. You signed up for something.
Yeah. People always like, oh, where are you from? From A-Leaf. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, dude, it was not like that at all.
Sometimes, some fools.
It actually changed over time because you got to understand, it's been 20 years since we graduated. Like, back in those days when we grew up there, it wasn't that bad. Well, depending on what side you're from, because all,
Spice Lane and all that.
Albright versus O'Donnell were two different stories, and then, A-Leaf at large, AMS, everything was a little. Albright was in a bubble almost, Yeah,
it really kind of was.
Definitely.
But regardless, we still fucked with the same people. We still played the same teams. It's like A-Leaf is A-Leaf, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? I really loved the growing up. Ron, what's going on? I really loved growing up out there. It was super. I hate to say it, sound all corny, but it was really multicultural. You grew up around everybody. It was great. Wouldn't change it for the world. But man,
me neither.
It's a lot different.
That makes three of us.
Yeah, and Tristan, he's on the line. He's from there too. And wait, let me ask everybody. Has everybody checked out my new site? And what do you guys think about the feel of it? Yay, nay?
I don't feel like it's super easy to navigate, but I love it.
Say that. Yeah.
I love it though, and actually now that I've got the fucking whatever app, that's navigatable. That's easy to navigate.
Okay. So
and the Spotify app, is navigatable. It's perfect.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll keep working on it. I set up a shop now.
But I like your art. I do like your art.
I appreciate it. I
And
appreciate
then
it.
that's why the
The
website.
art's legit.
That's why you need the website, dude. The
Yeah,
website is to host your art, dude. Why isn't it? I couldn't even, if I wanted to buy it, there wasn't a button for me to buy it.
I just set it up today.
Okay.
It's on there. It's on there today. It's on there today. So let me ask you guys this question. So I asked this the other day about, I think it was about the man and the hammer, right? Man has a hammer. Well, first question is,
Everything looks like a fucking nail.
everything looks like a nail. No, the question is, do you guys think that people can? Do you guys think people can change?
100%.
Tagba.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's no rhyme or reason why they change, how they change, or when they change. But
Right.
I've seen people. I mean, I've seen myself change over.
I make
time.
one exception. Pedophiles.
Okay.
I don't think they're ever
you
going
don't
to
think they
change. I don't have any faith in them,
I think,
and I
yeah,
don't want to talk to them.
I think I agree with you on that. I think that, and to an extent, depending on what you know, what, I'm not gonna dig too.
I'm not trying to start up hot buttons,
No,
but I'm just saying that's my
I'm
exception.
just-
That's really
I
my
never thought about
exception.
it. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing about people who are victims, right? Switching gears, but staying right, still on topic. I've always found that, and this is women, and women out there, don't get offended because I'm a dude and I've only dated women. You have to be very cautious of women who have been cheated on a lot of times, right? And the question is, well, why would I say that? Because so many times victims become the aggressor. And I've noticed in my dating history that a lot of women, well, yeah, women who've been cheated on a lot have a tendency to do the cheating back. Why? I don't know. But it's definitely a thing that I've noticed. And even with myself, after I got done over pretty bad a couple of times, man, I think it was my early 20s, I became ruthless when it came to women. Really didn't care about their feelings. I was just doing, I don't know what exactly I was
Bad
trying
boy.
to accomplish. Not even necessarily, more like hurt boy, right? I don't know what I was trying to accomplish by just going on this.
He was future before future. He was just a callous. I think that's the word that we're looking for. Callous. Just meh.
Yeah.
I think hurt people, and I think when you've been ripped so many times and wronged, this is the new norm that you've learned, and sometimes it'll turn into manifest within the victim, and it becomes unfortunate.
Well, and think about this too, right? If you in whatever wording you want to use as a person, when you think about what trauma is or how you would define it, how is being cheated on, wrong, stressed out about a relationship any different than any other trauma, right? Because in today's society, and you guys can remember this growing up, I think there's a phrase now, catching flights, not feelings, things of that nature. But the thought that you can honestly, realistically separate a very intimate act like sex from emotion, and not only are you supposed to be able to do it, right? You're encouraged to do it. And what's the thing back in the day that people would make fun of other people for if they got attached to somebody that they were having sex with? Oh, you catching feelings. Like it's a bad thing that you like somebody you're being intimate with. And I think all of us growing up have heard something of that nature, something like it. But now that I'm a little bit older, really seeing how damaging
that was bad training.
It was horrible, but it was societal training, right?
I know, but it was bad. It was just bad training overall. Because I hate to cut you off and maybe jump your point, but no, dude. I mean, as an adult male now, I want to catch feelings.
Yeah,
Please,
that's
please show me a woman worth catching feelings over. I'll give her all my fucking feelings.
yeah,
If she's worth it.
yeah. Well,
You know what I'm saying?
happens
Like,
is,
you gonna bust my balls when I was a kid? Fine. Oh, yeah, I caught feelings. But, dog, right now, for real, like, who's worth catching feelings over? Please show them to me.
well, not even just
I
that,
hope
right?
she's got nice titties. You know?
As you start to get older, we're almost all 40 years old. When you meet people who are still out here saying, "No, I'm not interested in any type of relationship. I just want to have sex with random people." As I get older, you start to realize, like, whoa, this is somebody that's incredibly damaged. Because at the end of the day, I get you have standards. I get you want a certain type of person. But in reality world, everybody wants somebody, no matter what people say. I've realized now when people are like, "Oh, I'm fine." You can be content being by yourself. I'm not saying that you have to run around, that you have to be in a relationship, that you have to be a serial monogamist. There's nothing wrong with being alone at all. And you can even say, "Hey, I'm not in a place where I don't think I could ever date again." That's fine. But I have a hard time believing people that if their perfect mate came out of the sky and they checked every single thing that they need, or even 80% of them, that they'd be like, "No, no, I'd rather be alone and just have randoms." I just don't believe that as I start to get older. And if you are somebody like that, uh, not even trying to be funny, you might want to consider getting some type of help or therapy, because nobody really starts out that way. I don't think. I don't
No.
think anybody starts out. I don't think there's a human on the planet that when they started dating said, "I don't." Actually, all bullshit aside, you don't get that way. That I want to. You don't get to a point of wanting to cut off your emotions until something occurs that makes you afraid to open up. But
I,
prior to
I,
that,
I think
go ahead.
unless you were a 13-year-old boy, before you realize that emotion is tied to, you're not even developed, and your brain says, yeah, I would just fuck her and bounce, and I don't get, like, you'd have to be numb
Yeah, yeah. Some like
and
I said, something
or
has to
just
occur.
emotionally undeveloped.
Right. But I mean, I hate to say it, you're not normal.
No,
Something
no,
something something
100%.
occurred, because humans by design across the board from a baby, we're designed to want love. We're just designed to want it. But the way that things are set up, and even the route that I took growing up and dating, it's like it gets you further and further away from that goal. Because, really, what are we taught? We're literally taught, have as much meaningless sex as you possibly can, and along the way, whenever you're ready to stop having all this meaningless sex, you are then, settle down with somebody. But here's the thing about that, right? And this is both men and women. How long do you have to do something? How long do you have to exhibit a behavior before that behavior becomes a habit? So
Mm.
if your normal you, right, is wake up every Friday night, Saturday night, and Monday through Sunday, you're just chasing women. Every woman who smiles at you at the store, you're getting her number, trying to attempt to sleep with her as soon as possible. If you do that for 20 years, I don't know the number, but
You'll
what
fuck
point
some
does it
hoes. You will fuck some hoes.
but what point does it transition from you just doing it because it's fun before it becomes who you are? And then say you do get in a relationship, how do you turn off that habit? How do you
Exactly.
just say, "Oh,
Exactly.
how am
Exactly.
I just not going to get these numbers anymore? How am I not going to bed every?" You haven't been doing that. You've been
No,
doing
but
this.
it exactly, and it's already in your brain. And even if and when you decide you want to turn it off, your brain chemistry, your habits will
Yep,
not
your
allow
dopamine.
for you to do it.
Yeah,
Like, you will still, recourse back to your bullshit state of just fucking hoes.
Yeah, it's
And
going to
it's
be
like,
incredibly difficult.
no,
I have an answer to that question.
All right.
You, me, you and I, Donaldson, have something in common. It's the fact that, and I know this isn't something that's a 100%. That can. I know this might not be the greatest analogy, but we both put the video games down.
Wait, what did you say? We put the video cams down?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Well, what I'm saying is that plenty of people, from what I've heard, when they go through that lifestyle, they just get tired of it after a while. You know what I mean? And whether
they become lonely.
Yeah, exactly. And they get to the point to where they realize that sometimes it happens in your mid-20s, sometimes it happens in your early 30s, sometimes, unfortunately, it happens later. And when it happens later, it could be a problem depending on who you are. But they get tired of it after a while. You know what I'm saying? And they get to the point to where they realize that they have to change.
Right.
So
but that's the thing, right? Even though there's all types of behaviors that we want to change, right? Eating sweets, smoking cigarettes, so on and so forth.
Stop it.
But here's
all of
the
it. Stop it.
Here's the dangerous thing about that particular habit, right? Generally, by the time the man or woman determines that they're ready or want to change, they're in a relationship with somebody, right? And so think about every other habit that you have. How many times in any habit, I'm willing to put money on this, right? Does anybody successfully break a habit the first time they do it?
I mean, you want a percentage? I'd say it's 5%.
I think it's lower than that, right?
I'd say about 4.5%.
I don't think it's that high that people on first time of deciding the very first time the thought comes in their brain, I'm gonna stop doing this, they just stop doing it. I personally have never
barely. You know what? You're totally right. It's probably like a 0.1,
point
0.2,
because generally
something.
we see the person, right, and we see that they've quit. But if
the 5% people, it takes 2 or 3 times, and they're the 5%ers.
Right, but even then, that's not the first time.
No.
Right, so think about it. Man, you're some dude or some chick, and you've done all this stuff, and then you meet somebody nice and you want to change. Well, you still got a chance of a failure rate in there, right? But that failure rate can cost you a lot. You
know how scary that failure rate is?
Yeah.
And that's the big thing holding a lot of people back from doing anything new.
Right.
And that applies to beyond relationships. It applies to professions. It applies to just independent endeavors, creative endeavors, whatever the fuck. But you know how many people at large, again, will have an idea, be like, oh, I'll do something like this, blah, blah, blah. And how many of them are going to do it? 2%.
If that.
And then how many of them will stick with it? 2% of that 2%.
Right. And so here's the question I ask everybody. I ask both of you guys, like, what would be the yearly salary that you would take for your dream to never come true?
Do I have a house that I own?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, if you give me a house I own, I want $45K.
So $45K.
And I own property.
And you own property.
Not big property, like A-Leaf property.
You own A-Leaf property, you get $45K a year, and the chance that you'll never live your dream, you'll sign it away.
Oh, no, I am living my dream. I can do everything I want.
Well, then you can't. No, I'm talking about your dream life. It will never come to fruition.
Oh, well, okay, we're talking in circles because that is, in fact, that actually kind of is my dream life. I just want to own property and
Okay.
be free of talking to motherfuckers about rent
Mm-hmm.
and say, okay, I'll pay property taxes. I have a
Right.
income yearly of 45K.
All
My
right. All right.
taxes are taken care of.
Well, you have to work.
I'm good.
You have to work.
Why?
You would still have to work.
Oh, I have a free income.
No. The free income comes with a job, a regular job that salary, just like any other
Oh.
job. Yeah, it's a regular job.
Well then,
You know what I mean?
okay, then if I gotta work, then
Yeah, if you gotta work.
I want 60, 70, 80K or something like that. I just
60.
want free time to make my music.
Well,
Leave
you
me
can't have free
alone.
time because you're working,
Nah,
and
I
you
got
can't. And that was
weekends.
the thing. And you can't make music. No music. Music
Oh
is
well, then
dead.
I fucking
Gone. Shot
I
dead.
quit. I quit.
So there's no. That's what I'm saying. But this is the interesting part. What I
There's no
noticed.
money. If you take music and shit away from me,
That's what I'm
fun little
saying.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you give me.
Right. And so I noticed that. But here's the thing. The sad part is we kind of really do that. So many people, we have these dreams and desires for life, and we never pursue them. We spend all our time working because in the back of our minds, we have this odd thought that one day is going to happen. That one day you're just going to wake up without any work, without any real work, without any real focus or dedication, and you're going to finally have time to pursue your quote unquote dream, even though you don't even really know what it is. And I've started to realize that with jobs, that's literally the bargain that we're taking. Uh, all right, you're never gonna live out your pursuit of happiness, but here's $100,000. Here's X number of dollars, and a lot of us go to the grave, um, waiting on one day to come, as opposed to
Yeah, but
really
if you
pursuing it.
take away somebody's ability in that whole equation, if you say, well, you can have $1 million, but I won't allow you to play music, and that's your thing, or I won't allow you to paint, or I won't allow you to make custom automobiles, and it's like, well, in fact, that's all I want to do.
Right.
Let's say so. If you take that away from somebody, dude, you're taking away. That's the whole point. Everybody's got a different thing, and if
Right.
you no nobody in their right mind would ever give up their free will, their love for money. It just nobody would.
You don't think people do it?
Oh, they do, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind, I'm saying.
Right. I think a lot of us make that.
They do,
agreement.
though. They do it all the time.
Yeah. I think a lot of us make that agreement without knowing that we're making that agreement. Because how many people do we all personally know that have these talents, they have these wants and desires, and this is the funny part about it, right? The funny part about it is when you see somebody else, what they're destined to be, what they should be going, it fucking screams off of them, right? They can't hide it. It's very apparent, right? You can
If
meet
they're
somebody.
good, if they're good, if they're
No, they
good.
don't have to be good. They don't have to be good. I'm just saying that they could, if they have a desire to do something, you can
Well,
see that. You can spend a
okay.
day with them.
I don't mean that if they're good, but if they're being good, if they're being them, if they are invoking their power properly.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
you can never deny that. You can never
Yeah,
deny that. But
I know,
so many people do not invoke that power.
they don't. They keep it inside. Like there's a guy next door to me. He's gonna be on the show this Sunday coming up. Great guy, man. He brings me like freshly made kimchi every weekend.
That's
And
dope.
he does yoga, he does Muay Thai, he does all kinds of different stuff. But it's
No,
not
but the
hard to tell.
kimchi that's dope. Hookup.
That's it's great too. It's better than any kimchi
I
that I've
bet.
had. But I meet all these people. Like there's a young lady on the line right now who's an avid traveler. She looks up her history. She like went to school for history. She's a very eloquent writer. I know what she's supposed to be doing. And I think she's still, yeah, I'm talking to you. I think she's still trying to figure it out, right? But when I started doing this, and talking about all these things. I remember I was at her house. It was during a party, and I'm talking about all this stuff, and it was so funny because everybody there was like, "Yeah, you've always been this way." I'm like, "What do you mean? You've always talked about this."
Oh, bless you, whoever that
Thank
was.
you. Nobody was surprised that this is the route that I took, but me. Everybody else just knew it, and I'm like, so really, it's really just about coming into agreement with what you're supposed to do, because we all, I mean, so many of us sit around like, Hassan, you've been doing music as long as I've known you.
I know, but
You
you
didn't.
know what? I know for a fact I'm still a loser baby in the music world. And I love being a baby because I don't have any qualms making errors and putting out trash because
Right.
I don't care. I like it, man. If I like it, fuck you.
No, but that's
That's it. And I've gotten
that's
at least to
totally
that
fine.
point.
No, but and that, well, here's the thing, right? And this goes back into what I talked about last week with Western culture. We have this idea that if you enjoy something, you have to make money off it. Well,
No,
that's
no,
not
you
true.
don't. You
No,
don't have to.
you could just
I
enjoy
totally
it.
agree.
You can just
No,
enjoy.
and you know
So,
what?
right.
If in fact I would love to make money off of it, and how do I make money off of it? I click it. I put on shit on my fucking computer. I run shit in the background. I keep clicking my own shit, and you know what? I make $10 a month off of my own fucking clicks. So
How many
fuck
clicks do you
y'all.
need to do that?
A lot of fucking clicks, dude.
Really?
A lot of them. Yeah. I keep Pandora running. I keep YouTube running. I keep Spotify running. I keep Apple iTunes running. Everything in the background. I make
Well, then y'all
money.
need to start clicking on my show. Let me get that $10.
I'm telling you. I told you yesterday. I'm clicking now. I'm a new subscriber, dude.
Click away, everybody compared.
I listened to 3 episodes of your shit last night.
I appreciate it, man.
I love it.
I would I mean, so I can't sit here and lie, and because I've really just been soul searching, even though I really, really like what I do.
You're doing a great job. Honestly, I really like that. I'm you have no idea. I'm what's the word? I'm just happy to have been invited. I feel very, just thank you for letting me on here.
Oh, well,
Like,
good now.
I'm not even like I like your fucking podcast, dude. I like how you go on these tangents and you get real and you're fucking talking real shit,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
dumb shit.
Well, the best thing about this podcast, because like I always bring this up, the way that it originated is my dad passed. I went through a whole bunch of things, and like
By the way, when I didn't even know
it was
about this.
4 or 5 years ago, give or take.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
because he actually died before my baby was born. And so me and my wife have been together 10 plus, maybe 15 years, something like that, right?
Mm-mm.
We just assumed that we couldn't get pregnant. So we never even worried about it. Well, my dad passes, and literally within the year, my daughter comes along. So it was like God gave your boy a little help out because I was definitely struggling. Me and my dad were very, 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 very close. As you guys can see, the moniker, my art name that I go by is Donnie's son because my name is Donald's son, which if you break it down is Donnie's son. So
It's like old school motherfuckers with the last name
Yeah.
Schumacher. When they moved to the
Same
country,
thing.
it's like, yeah, their dad made shoes. They're Schumacher now.
But here-
I dig that.
But this is the driver. This is the driver, and what I get so hung up on. My dad used to give me these books, 48 Laws of Power. Richest Man in Babylon. He would give me all these different books to try to motivate me because he wanted to get out of the rat race so bad. Like that was all he focused on, and he tried. And I'll never forget when he died. I went up to the hospital. It was West Houston Hospital off of
What was
What
it,
was
by
it?
the way? I'm sorry if I'm
He had a
asking
heart
too many
attack. No, he
questions.
had a heart
Oh
attack.
shit. Okay.
Um, when I went to go pick up his belongings, it was just a pair of pants, a belt, and that was it. And when I dug in his belongings, he had a lottery ticket in there, right? And I was like, damn, you know, even to the day that he died, he was always hoping for, the next day. He was always hoping for the big payoff, something to occur. And then I started to like have a meltdown because I started to realize that I was becoming obese. I was becoming complacent with life. I'm not dissing my dad. Don't ever think that. But living I wasn't actually being what I was supposed to be. And the truth about this life is there's a timetable on this shit. And the truth
Mm.
about this life, unless there's some reincarnation that I don't know about, man, you got one you actually have one fucking shot at it, right? And I would say sometime in November, I went to the Shrine of the Black Madonna with a couple of photo prints of my artwork that I had, and I was nervous as shit because it was the first time that I, excuse me, that I had taken my artwork out in public, that I was showing people, and I was nervous because I was thinking that real artists were gonna like see my shit and laugh at me, and I didn't sell anything, not a single piece. People would just come by and say it was cool or whatever, but like
Yeah, just walk by.
that didn't deter me at all. This podcast that I'm on, Tagba's been with me. I've done a hip hop podcast. I've done a fucking conspiracy podcast.
Yeah,
I've done movie
yeah.
podcast, and they were fit. I mean, I wouldn't get any traction. I've been podcasting for a fucking decade, and this is the most traction that I've gotten. So many people are like, "Oh man, you do this so well." I'm like, dude, this took a lot of work to get to this point because
You found your
I
voice
found the groove.
effectively.
I found the
Yeah,
groove and it started to
but
pay
no,
off.
no, I don't think it's so much the groove, dude. I think it's
Mhm.
you. It's like if you were a stand-up comedian, man. If you want to be a stand-up, every stand-up says it takes at least 10 years, and you're good. Then you can maybe find your voice,
Right.
and you found yours, man. That's fucking beautiful.
Well, the funny part is I found it because I stopped caring. Right?
Exactly.
I stopped worrying. I stopped thinking that every show had to be amazing and revolutionary and knock things out of the park. Literally, I think I got so exhausted because all these other podcasts I was doing extensive research. Like for the hip hop podcast, we would listen to entire discographies of artists, and I was just burning myself out so tired until one day I just turned on and started talking. And here we are. That was it.
I'm glad you did. Because look,
Yeah.
we're all here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're an hour in, recapping what we talked about in the beginning. Just have you ever worked off a rage or revenge? Have you ever tried to enact revenge on somebody else only for it to, and this is the way revenge works, it ultimately comes back and blows up in your face. I don't know if I've ever I don't know if I've ever had a moment of revenge that I honestly felt good about after it was over. Other people may, but I generally regret the action, um, and really wish that I had spent my time, energy, and focus on something else. Because what I'm starting to learn now, as I get a little older, there's something that my director tells me to do before I
Your
commit.
director.
At work. Before
Okay.
because
I'm like,
I
oh,
get a
you got,
yeah.
are you working at a production company? Are you,
Nah.
I got a director. He tells me what
Be,
to do.
before I go down a path, if I get angry about something, she'll say the same thing every single time, and that is seek first to understand. just try to find out and maybe even ask the person, why did you commit the action that you committed? Because I had a
You
tendency in the past to just react to what I thought the person's intent was and just go off of whatever I thought. And a lot of times you'd be wrong about what you think the
Oh, you'll
person.
almost always be wrong because you'll
Yep,
find out something new later, and you'll
yep,
fuck you up when you after you
yep,
did what you
yep,
did.
yep. Because, like, we'll just say, for example, here's a great example. Because me and this girl get along. I can't. There was this like security lady who I thought was always mean and rude to me. Well, we'll just forget all the other times. We'll just talk about one time. Imagine
But
if you walk.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to say I love revenge when it's due,
Well,
motherfucker,
but do you really like sitting there?
motherfucker.
Yeah, you like
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
don't care how bad it bites me later. When it's really due,
yeah.
I ain't mad. I'm gonna get you.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I don't
can't
care.
see you like that. I can't
No,
see you
because you
like
know
that.
why? When I say when it's really due, and
Yeah.
the fucking laws ain't ever gonna come through, and I am gonna get pissed off when they don't. I'm gonna show up first. There's something. It has to be well due, and I'll deal with the reservations later.
Right.
I mean it
Well,
though. There's
well.
something.
Here's the thing.
There's still that dumb thing in my head. I can't shake the lizard brain.
Right.
That's
Well,
all I'm saying.
this is what I've noticed. Right. Every time I sit around plotting or planning revenge on somebody else, I noticed that it had such a negative effect on me more than them. Um,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
thing
That's why you got to be quick. That's why you got to be quick about it and fucking forget about it.
Yeah, well, so but here's the thing, but on the same on the same note, right? I'm not saying to be a pushover. I'm not saying to not speak up or
I don't take. I'm not taking
yeah,
you that way.
no, I'm not saying that you shouldn't just be a punk. You should definitely address whatever. And in my mind, I had to recalibrate the way I come at things. If somebody does something to you that you don't like or offends you deeply and greatly, you have the right to respond any way that you choose. But what I wouldn't encourage is to sit around for any pronounced longer time, like maybe 24 to 72 hours,
Brooding,
like
brooding.
exactly sitting there thinking
Nah.
and plotting out some kind of
You're
master
now you're
plan.
becoming
Nah,
a monster. Now you're becoming a
exactly.
monster.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, man.
And
Either
you're
get
gonna
your
regret the
either
monster you're
yep,
becoming.
yep.
I totally agree. I
And the
totally agree.
worst thing that can
But if
happen,
you get news, if you get news and it was really blasphemous and it
yeah.
was family related, motherfucker, I'm showing up with a bat,
Well,
with a
that's
pipe.
different. Yeah,
And I have no
totally
regrets. I
different.
have no
Yeah,
regrets.
well, that's different. That's a whole different thing. I
But it
get what
is
you're saying,
still
but
it is still in the revenge world, is what I'm
it
saying.
is. It is in the
But
revenge
it's
category.
almost knee jerk. I allow for that. And beyond
Right.
that, premeditative revenge. Nah, I got no time for that.
Yeah, especially like work stuff, man.
Nah.
Yeah, just let the work stuff go. Um, yeah, you'll just like you. I remember one time I was like, I had a difficult time with one of my bosses, and I was changing who I was. Right, I was not being
Mm-mm.
happy. I wasn't being jokey. I was just always like grimaced up. Like I had to change myself, and this person was being themselves, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to just let this shit go because I can't walk around. You know how much work it is to walk around not being you? I mean, that's pretty
Oh,
intense work
it's
to sit
more
around.
work than doing the work you were supposed to do.
Yeah, it's
It's
gauge with
double work.
insight. What's going on? It's double work. And then here's the thing, like to go out of your way to treat somebody in a way that, like, man, I've had people do some really whack shit to me. But then if I'm like, okay, I got two options. Either I can address it with this person, or I can just leave it up to the ether and go on about my way and keep progressing and being what I'm ultimately going to be. And you know what's really funny? 9 times out of 10, their little pissant attacks to take me down don't really seem to stop me because I don't and this is how the universe kind of works, right? If you dedicate your energy to revenge versus progression, which do you think has a better outcome, negative or positive? If somebody, like, say, for example, right, somebody does something to you, you decide you're going to hit the gym, you're going to start dressing better. What? That's a better outcome than sitting around thinking how you're going to sabotage their life.
Yeah,
Even if you're
getting on
successful,
Twitter and talking
yeah,
shit on a motherfucker or some
you're
dumb
still
shit.
going to be you. You're still going to be you, and you haven't progressed. And what I've learned to do is now, if somebody does something egregious to me or something negative in my life happens, I grab it, I transmute it, and I turn it around. Like if I'm like, if something really emotionally gets to me now, and I'm trying to process it. In the past, I would brood, I would smoke cigarettes, I would drink beers, and really try to not think about it. Now I paint. Now I come on here and I just talk about it, or I'll go work out. Something that will lead to, after it's over, a positive. Because here's the thing, man, when it comes to energy of any kind, whether it be negative or positive, man, it's really powerful. Like, it is an extreme, like, even hate is an
Dude,
extreme driver.
it's to say, you say even hate. You're talking. I thought you were talking exactly about hate.
Well,
It
oh yeah,
is.
I guess I am. It's a
It
driver.
is fucking. It's a horrible driver, dude. It's
It
a
is. It's a
worse
destructive
driver.
one.
If you're gonna take two Ubers and one's a love Uber, one's a hate
Yeah.
Uber, and they're gonna take you to the same place, but
Choose the love
goddamn,
Uber.
you feel me, right?
Yeah. Choose the love Uber,
It
man.
literally, if you're not choosing the love Uber every time in your head, you're fucked up. You're fucking up.
Yeah. And
I
what
totally
really,
agree. I
but you know what
totally
really,
agree.
you know what really helps with that? What really, really helps?
Weed.
Well, what I generally like to do is, after any interaction, right? I'll sit there, and this isn't like in a self-blaming way. I think to myself, is there any possibility that any of my actions could have led to this outcome? Like, just
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
second, just for a second. And sometimes and I won't react, and I'll think about it. And as I'll think about it, I'm like,
You see how much it did.
well,
You see how much
there's a
it did.
possibility there that maybe Donaldson isn't always right about everything. No,
No, Donald. You know what? The War King fucked up,
Yeah, maybe.
and he may, as righteous as he may be, he
Yeah.
fucked up. And I mean
It's
that. I
funny.
don't mean that to you. I mean
know
that
what you're
to
saying.
me.
Yeah.
It's the same shit, dude. I got my own War King. I never named him, but same shit.
Yeah.
I fuck up, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody does. And if you don't, that's the problem. Are you recognizing when you fuck up?
Mm.
Or
A lot of
are
people
you
don't.
not? Are you not? Are you not realizing how how your actions are, in fact, negatively affecting people you really love and people care about you and people you care about? Like, if you become oblivious to that, you're fucking done, dude.
Well, you know what's
Put a
funny that you
fucking
say that.
blindfold over your eyes and walk off the cliff. You're done.
It's funny you say that, because when I talk to somebody about an issue that they're having, whatever it is, and I ask them the simple question, well, is there anything that you might have done that contributed? No, I didn't do it. Then I know who the problem is right there.
Oh yeah, as
Because
soon as the knee jerk. No, not me.
I didn't. No, man, I was just minding my. Because I can almost promise you, and I'll give you a great example. In almost any interaction that you have, there's fault to be found on your part in almost any. Good example. Well, what if, like, I look back at some of the times that I got cheated on, right? Well, how could I possibly blame myself for somebody being deceptive to me? Well, as I looked back, I started to realize that this person or persons had many red clues and signs that I was being disrespected throughout the
Yeah.
relationship. And I'm like, well, I allow these people to cross my boundaries
You
multiple
let it go.
times,
You let it go.
and I should have just
You let it
left.
go.
I should have just left.
But you let it go because
But I let
out
it
of
go.
good nature or out
Whatever.
of whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that was the thing and it's really about reclaiming ownership of your life, because if you think that everything that happens to you is external and that you don't have
You're a fool.
any,
You're a fucking fool.
not only are you a fool, you become anxious. I think that's one of the points. I think that's where anxiety is produced, right? If you're sitting around waiting to react to everything, I respond to things now, right? Before, I used to always be on edge, skittish, if you will, waiting to see what somebody was going to do to me, because I probably wasn't going to do nothing back. So I was always reacting, right? But when you respond, now my thought process is different. Somebody could come up to me and be like, hey, oh, bitch ass, bitchity. What? Right? They could do that. But what I like best about the place that I'm in now, I don't feel pressure to punch the dude in the face, but I can if I choose. If I choose to go down that decision tree now, I will. But if I choose to walk away, I will. And if somebody's like,
Even
"Oh, you're
better."
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with what other people think about my actions now. For the first time in my life, I honestly don't.
When do you think that happened for you?
I know exactly when it happened. The moment that it happened is when I was a charge nurse, right? So when I became a charge nurse in the EC, man, I was met with a lot of resistance. And every time I would make decision A, the B crowd would come out. When I'd make decision B, the A crowd would come out. And it got so bad, at a certain point, I was like, oh, I mean, it really hit me for the very first time on a large scale that no matter what decision I made, somebody was going to be displeased. Somebody was going to say something. And after a while, I told people, hey, I don't give an F what people say now. Keep it to yourself. Don't bring it to me. I'm going to make the decision that I think is best, and I'm just going to roll from there. And I did. And it was such a growing moment for me. And really all leadership is like that. And that was the change moment.
Man,
because now I
that.
realized people are always got something to say. That's just
everybody
part of life. Oh yeah.
Like, what are you doing? I got 10 people to tell you about why you fucked up. You know, it's anything.
Literally anything. If like
in my little,
what music do you play again? What do you play?
So with Opia, the band, and this is with my boy Joe, that again I couldn't get him on the podcast, and
Big Joey,
barely.
come on,
man, if you listen or you watch it, Joe,
it's
he
fun,
ain't
man.
coming, man.
I know
he ain't coming.
Good.
He's anti social media and blah blah blah, putting himself out there. I'll just say his name is Joe. Not gonna throw his last name out there, even though if you look at any of our music on Spotify, he's, you can see his last name.
I'm looking at you, Joe.
But dude, music-wise, I gave up a long time ago as far as what motherfuckers think about my shit. I know it sucks, but you know what I also think? I think it's awesome. I know the critics, the critic acclaim says we suck. And our sound is lo-fi, and it's not well produced. Well, you know what? It's just us two assholes. And you know what? Also, I don't care because I'm proud of it. We own it. It's all over. You go listen to it. It's probably not your taste of music. It's heavy metal-ish, grunge, weird rock, heavy grunge. Kind of offbeat. But the point is, I don't care anymore about music. And me personally, like, in a professional level, like as a carpenter or like working in film and stuff, is like, one of these guys. Specifically, let's talk about carpentry. I can work and do a lot of things. And people will say, I want it to look like this. I'll make it look like that. But if you interrupt me in the middle of it and say, oh, I don't like the way you're doing it, I don't know what to tell you. Get screwed.
Yeah.
And I'm over that. In the early part of my career, I used to get fazed by that. Oh, well, how do you want me to do it then? No, I know how I need to fucking do it. Leave me alone. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And
I don't want to argue with you, and I'm not going to get mad at your dumb input because I'm going to do it.
well,
if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense because the thing about it is there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism, right? From a group of individuals that you trust that have, your best intentions at heart, because so many people are it's really easy for them to give you problems with no solutions and just pick, right? I don't listen to that anymore. If you just pick, and you don't have any, I'm like, okay, I'll just kind of get away from you. I'll just kind of gravitate towards another place and move on with my life. It's not that I can't, I very much can take constructive criticism, but I've started to realize if you're somebody that's all you have to offer, I'm okay. I will move away and I'll move around, and you can take you and your old negative energy up the street, man. Before I would actually really listen to these people and try to acquiesce and go this way and go that way. Well, the thing about it is if you're going this way and going that way with every person that has a strong opinion about you, how are you going to end up being you?
You'll never do it. You never will.
Do it.
You never will.
Never do it. And so, think about it. What I've really started to figure out more on my journey, when you think about the Wright brothers, should they have spent more time trying to convince people of how good a airplane is, or should they just make the shit and then show people on the back end? And that's really the route that I'm going. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and as it starts to progress, and as it starts to manifest in the way that I'm pretty sure it's going to, they can catch up. But I'm not. I've had.
If you're seeing even the smallest amount of success along the way, that's enough it should be enough to keep you in the game, is all I'm saying. And I don't give a fuck, how many haters you have along the way. If you're paying your bills with your shit, fuck them. Even if ain't
I'm actually poor right now.
Well, I mean, but you feel me though, right?
Yeah, I do. I know what you're saying.
If you're getting to that, if you're at the point where you definitely cannot allow for these fools to interrupt your schedule, is all I'm saying.
Cute. Just like this kid interrupted my podcast. What's up? What is that you have? Come here. You have candy? Does your mom know you have it? No, she doesn't. Because it's fucking 7 o'clock, and there's no way that you should have. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I'm about to snitch on you, man. Yeah, it's a flower, but you're not supposed to have it. Get out of here. Go. Beat it. Beat it. Bye. Bye. She was talking shit on the way out, too. I don't know how she has candy. This is going to end really poorly, y'all, for the rest of the night, because she's not going to go to sleep. But it's all good. I lost my train of thought with people, and it's odd. The more connected I'm becoming to people, the more disconnected I'm coming in a way. And what I mean by that is I've gotten to the point in my life now that I'm really, really extremely comfortable with being my true organic self. I don't change the things I talk about anymore to make other people comfortable. I do what I like doing.
You hear me in the background, dog? I mean it. I do
it a lot. Now I just do my thing, man, and talk about what I want to talk about, how I want to talk about it. And if you think I'm like a weirdo, and that's cool, that is totally
Yeah, then I'm a fucking weirdo. Leave me alone then if you don't like me.
Yeah, if it bothers you that much, the person that I actually am, and that's such a sad thing that I didn't think that the baseline person I was good enough. That's such a weird thought to have.
It's sad for you. And
Yeah.
I think it's sad for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't realize it. I see it in myself. So I totally get it. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm barely there where I'm like, I think I might have fully let go, but I haven't. I'm on the verge. You know what I'm saying? And I'm dealing with people here and there on some people I'll deal with like this, some people I deal with like that.
Right.
Like
Right.
my parents don't know I smoke weed.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that and a couple other things, I'm almost full open to everybody.
Right.
I'm done hiding.
Yeah.
And I'm almost there. But again, my parents still don't know I smoke weed and shit.
Mm-hmm.
This and that, random couple things that I hide, and blah blah blah. But dog, on the cool, most people I fuck with, you're gonna deal with me the one way or another. And if you don't like it, then don't fucking deal with me.
Yeah. And here's the thing, on the flip side of that, right? If we're friends, if we're really good friends, and you see me engaging in destructive behavior, I do want you to step in. I do want you to say something.
Well, then I wouldn't be a good
Hey,
friend if I didn't.
Right. And but I say all that to say because those are two different things versus you just not you trying to change my root person. Like I just realized now because we've all dealt with it, especially growing up in A-Leaf around a certain type of people that acted like you weren't cool enough because you didn't engage in whatever activities and something was wrong with you. And when in reality, looking back, I'm like, man, I should just not even worried about those people and just went and engaged with more like-minded people because it's not like they're not out there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. What you guys got going for the rest of the week? Work tomorrow?
Not me.
Oh, must be nice. Talk about, how about you? Tristan? Anybody?
Is he gone? Everybody gone?
Nah,
Is
I
it
can
just
see
us?
No, I'm here, man. I'm here. I was
What you got going?
I was actually taking a look at something.
he was taking a dump.
Nah, not that. Nah, I'm actually at the end of this week. It's my last cousin under my mama's family tree. She's graduating, so I'm gonna be headed to Toledo, just like I did last year. Other than that, I don't know if I'm gonna start now, but I'm gonna start eventually doing the 10 minutes of running a day.
Okay.
Of course, I'm gonna, I'm gonna do my normal workout regimen, throw some boxing in there, just so I can make things a little interesting. And that's, as far as I know, that's pretty much it. Nothing too exciting outside of that. Unless if anything comes up, but just normal 40-plus-year-old living.
All right. Well, I'm going to hang it up for today, gentlemen.
Oh, you done?
Yeah, I'm done, man. My wife
Are
a little bit early. My wife
are you on a time schedule? Because I had a couple.
Really am.
Man, I had a couple questions. I was figured if it got lame.
Well, no.
But I don't want to drag you on too late either.
Well, no, you can ask me the questions now. I'm interested. What you got?
All right, they're retarded. I wrote some of them last night. Some of them I wrote today.
Right.
Okay, I'm just asking you, but we can ask, Tristan, everybody.
All right. What's up?
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes. I believe that I don't know.
Huh? You believe what you don't?
I believe that I don't know.
Okay.
I believe that
I
it's,
believe
it's
it.
in the realm of possibility. Were you saying, Tristan?
Yeah, I think they believe. I mean, I believe in ghosts.
Okay.
You wait. Has anybody seen a ghost?
I have not.
No.
All right. We can move on. Because I honestly, I concur. I don't know nothing. I'm agnostic, man. I'm big time across the board. I'm an agnostic motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But so okay, we can agree on that. Next question. I'm gonna do hot topics. Bing, bing, bing. The next one is: do you believe in aliens?
Yes. Also.
Like, okay, Tristan.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Hey, what if I'm an alien?
You could be.
What if we're all aliens?
Here's the thing. This is where my opinion comes in. I don't think there are aliens, okay? I think the aliens that we see are time traveler humans visiting us. I think they're humans. I think they're time travelers.
Have you ever seen the movie Lunopolis?
Nope.
Go check it out.
Lunopolis, like lunar?
So there's this movie called Lunopolis. Me and Darius went out drinking one day.
Man, okay, hold on. Should I look this up on what, Netflix, or I got my computer?
Me and
okay,
Darius
yeah.
just decided to watch this random movie, and it was great. Long story short, it's like time travel, but about the same premise. I actually interviewed the guy and went to his house. Like, this is almost 7 or 8 years ago. Matt Avant. We still talk. Really cool guy. But it's one of my favorite time traveling movies of all time. Definitely check it out. Same premise that you're talking about.
Well, how do you spell it? I just wrote Lunopolis, Lunopolis, like lunar. I didn't get nothing on Netflix.
It might no longer be Luno Polis.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
It's not.
Let me look it up just on a search. Anyway, okay, let's go to the next question.
All right.
Well, I mean, this kind of is. Do you think? Is there any idea in your head? Do you think we might be living in a simulation theory? Are we even humans?
Possible.
I agree. I totally agree.
It's a lot.
Terrell?
You don't know.
Repeat that.
Are we even humans? Are we potentially just living in a simulation theory?
Well, who named us humans? Like, who are we to call ourselves human? Yeah,
I mean, no. I mean,
who created?
That's a good point. I don't know.
You see what I mean? Like, when you think about it like this. I mean, the very thing that we call time isn't even something that technically exists. It's just a fabric of something that we created. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree. I don't know. That's why I personally. That's why I entertain these ideas.
You know what? You just said it. You know what? You just said it, and then that's exactly it. You don't know. I don't either.
When was time created?
Man, I want to give credit to the Aztecs, dog. That calendar of theirs is pimp.
Right.
Like, if any culture in the past, historically, dog, Aztecs really killed it.
What's your next question?
Okay, my last question, and it's lame. It's not lame, but it's less ethereal, It was actually just a specific question about you, Donaldson. About
Yeah, what's up?
I'd like to know more about like when you started training jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai,
That was about 2
and
years
like
ago.
how and why you got into it. You know?
So that was about 2 years ago, and I just started really just working out, and it was one of those things. It was a fear of mine, right? I always like once again the desire was always inside of me to box, to want to fight, all those type of things.
Man,
But I
isn't it
kind of
fun?
it's amazing. But I let everybody else tell me what I was, so I never explored it. And it's not until you like actually try it that you realize that nobody starts out learning how to fight. You don't know how to fight out the womb. You have to develop it. It's a skill, and
Yeah.
it's like a skill like any other. And you're gonna start shitty. Even it was really interesting seeing all these guys in there, big, tough, crazy looking tattoo guys that would throw the most horrible looking punches. That if you were like to see these people on the street, you would just assume that they're crazy with the hands, and in reality, it's not. But on the flip side, man, there's some guys in there that look like the nerdiest, pushover,
Yeah, they
lamest
call
guys
them.
on the planet.
They call them. There's a name for them. They're like nerd assassins.
Man, they'll fucking take your head
No,
off.
no, they look like nerds, but they're fucking. They'll kill
They're
you.
killers. They're killers.
Yeah,
Like legit animals in there. You just think you're about to roll with this guy or put some. He takes your head off. It's really scary, but it makes you respect people more because
yeah.
you don't know what you don't know, and you think that you're just gonna talk to somebody any old type of way, and it's gonna end up poorly for you, no matter how badass you think you are. So it definitely changes the way that you view the world. No, wait, do you do
Oh, totally.
jujitsu?
Well,
What do
what's
you do? You
up?
do? I said, do you do jujitsu or boxing or?
No, I don't do shit, dude. When I was young, I did taekwondo
Okay.
and dude, but then, growing up in A-Leaf, I got in a couple fights
Hmm.
in fucking jail style. You get in some bunch of fights and then you get
Hmm.
out, and then I went to college and then you get in a bunch of fights on 6th Street. Like
Hmm.
I developed, or rather became used to the idea, and it was fun. It's so much fun, or rather it was, to
Hmm.
fight people. I get
When
a
did you?
kick out of it.
When did
I
that? When
used
did
to get
that?
a kick out of it.
When did that change? Do you still feel that way?
No, no. That disappeared probably. I don't know, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when I was in LA. I fought a couple people a few enough times, enough that like, and I got older, and it's like, this ain't good. I'm gonna eventually, somebody's gonna end up dying,
Right.
and I don't want to be the guy that has to go to jail because I knocked a guy out, or I don't want to be the guy that got knocked out and died accidentally.
Over nothing.
Yeah, because sometimes, dude, the wrong fist to the wrong head will kill a person very easily.
Oh, and that's the thing in working in
It's like the idea that it's so, it's not worth it. Is all I'm saying.
no.
It ain't worth it.
Oh, it 9 times out of 10, unless you're like in a protective state,
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
walking away.
And no, that's what I gave it all up. That's what I gave all. I gave all the fun, fighting for fun. I gave it up, dude. Like probably I was like 26. Probably gave it up 10 years ago or something. Whatever,
That's good.
But back in the day, though, I used to love. Like, you want to talk shit, and you say, "Oh, let's fight." All right, I'll take off my shirt. I'll fight you right now in the street.
Dang.
It didn't scare me. The idea, that's one big thing too. A lot of people don't even know. Like, a lot of people aren't even used to, like, oh, you can just fight. A lot of people won't even do it.
Yeah, not that, and that's the funny part, right? by the time that you're ready to escalate, and that's why I didn't get into a lot of fights because I was so mild mannered. By the time I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's do it. They were always shocked. They're like, what? Yeah, fuck it, let's fight. Then they're like, well, I don't really want to fight you. I'm like, well, then why were you sitting here talking all this shit to me?
Mm-hmm.
People are just very odd and
I think
psychological.
to me, a lot of that shit went away when I was like mid-20s, and then after that, I was like, you know what? It ain't even worth it, dude. Because now I'm just actually assaulting people.
Right.
You know, it ain't like I'm a cool, fun guy fighting anymore. I'm just a fucking
Angry old guy.
angry, assaultive guy.
Yeah. And then it
You
has
know,
such
and
a
like
negative
and
impact on your life.
nobody has room for that in their life. Nobody normal,
No,
right?
most normal people distance themselves from people like that.
Yeah, and I had to give it up.
Yeah.
I used to love it though, and the thing is, the only reason I ever loved it is because I got into it, and I just said, "Fuck it."
Yeah, it just dive wholesale into it. But guys, I am about to hang it up. My wife is going for her evening walk. I will be back this Sunday, same time, 6 p.m. I will be having an amazing individual on, Mr. Chris Bishop with Transformation Nation. We're going to wax poetic, and I will spend the rest of the week trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about. But thank you guys so much.
That's
for
what's
hopping
up.
on.
Thank you.
This was fun.
Thank
This
you,
was super
dog.
fun, man.
Usual. Thanks
I'll
for
holler at
having
you
me.
guys later. Anytime.
Hell
Tristan,
yeah.
holler at you, man. Hassan, Tagba, thank you all, man. I'll holler at you next week.
Tristan,
Sunday.
what? That's what's up.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, y'all.
I forgot I was off
Bye.
mute. See you.